One of the ACC's perennial powerhouses fell woefully short last season. But this time around, fans of this team will hope that their new offensive hire will lead their team back to its glory. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ACC Uprising. My name is Grant Mitchell, and we got a fun one cooking up today. This one is dedicated to all the fans of Clemson, and we're here to talk about pretty revealing remarks from the new offensive coordinator, Chad Morris. Before we get to that, though, I do have to say, here at ACC Uprising, we are committed to covering every single team throughout the Atlantic Coast Conference. So if this video is for you and you're a Clemson fan, that's great. Hit that like button, subscribe, show your support. But even if you're not a Clemson fan, whether you just like ACC football, you're a fan of a different school, you just want some general football news, then also do the same thing. Hit the like button, shows that you appreciate the content here. Subscribe so you never miss a video, maybe a video when your team will be the subject matter. And without further ado, let's go ahead and let's jump into the video. Oh, and as always, throw your thoughts down in the comment section below. That's what we love here at this channel. This channel is a community. We are trying to build the communication, the relationship between us here recording the videos and you guys out there. So whatever thoughts you got, throw them down in the comment section below. So before we talk about the new offensive plans, just a really quick note here. 31-year-old Seth Ryan, a former walk-on wide receiver at Clemson, was hired as the New York Jets passing game coordinator. This is a new milestone in his professional career, so congratulations to Seth. He is now the third generation of Ryans to work for the Jets, and he comes over after being the assistant tight ends coach for the Lions last year. Ryan was a member of the 2016 National Championship team in a very limited capacity, so good luck, Seth, and good luck to the Giants, because those boys, they're going to need it. They're pretty bad at football. I think Clemson might be able to beat the Jets. Okay. Let's talk about what to expect from this Clemson Tigers offense in 2026. So the majority of the substance that I will be referencing in this video comes from an article written by Sports Illustrated's Griffin Barfield, who wrote up an article after Morris was speaking on Clemson Athletics podcast, Two Right Turns. So a very quick background on Chad Morris, and then we'll jump into what he said. He's going to be the offensive coordinator, taking the position for the first time in his career since he was at Auburn in 2020. His last job was when he was at Texas State as a wide receivers coach and passing game coordinator in 2024, and he even worked as an offensive assistant at Clemson in 2023. He is used to being the offensive coordinator as Clemson as well because he was working as the OC and QB's coach from 2011 to 2014. So this article that we're going to be talking about references three big takeaways from Morris's comments on the podcast, again, Two Right Turns. Number one is the pace of play will change during games. Here's what Chad Morris had to say. Quote, "At one time, it was all tempo. What's next?" And we all agreed, as we would walk through this, is the ability to change the pace of play. So tempo is still a thing, but it's the ability to change and get in and out of structure and still play with pace. He also noted that dictating your pace depends on your defensive coordinators and the performances of your defense. So it was a very interesting conversation that happened where, again, they talked about the relationship between the two. And if your offense is going breakneck speed, but then your defense can't get off of the field, that's not really helping a whole lot. And vice versa. If your offense is going breakneck, but it's a 3 and out, they can't go anywhere, then you're just running your defense back out on the field when they were already tired if they just had to sustain a long drive. So there is a relationship, and as he said, it will change during games. He also noted that having talented receivers and running backs and being able to change your personnel groupings allows someone in his position, the offensive coordinator, to manipulate the pace based on what is happening in real time. So don't expect Clemson to have an up-tempo offense. Don't expect them to be draining the play clock on every play. Expect them to be multiple in a sense. It's going to depend on the flow of the game. Point number two that was mentioned in this article, an emphasis on the run. Chad Morris said, quote, "You have to be able to present the run and in multiple ways, being creative when you do present it. You're running the same plays, but the creativity, the window dressing behind it has to change." So last year, Clemson struggled to run the football. In fact, they didn't really try to do it all that often. They were only 114th of 136 schools in rushing play percentage at 45.2%. Morris did say that he will put an emphasis on being creative and using motion to disguise the running backs. There's a quote, and I just heard it the other day, and I'm probably going to mess it up, but I'm going to do the best I can to nail it on. It's basically make the same things look different and make different things look the same. And that applies to the running game. Because if you come out and it's the same formation, you're offset to the same side, you have the same personnel groupings on the field, but it's a completely different run play than it was just before, that's going to be advantageous for your offense because you're going to keep the defense guessing. And vice versa, you come out in a completely different look, but it was the same play you just ran, just with different starting positions or different guys on the field. Defense probably isn't going to be ready for that. So this is absolutely a good thing for the Clemson offense. Here's what Chad Morris again had to say, quote, "I firmly believe that if you're tough at running the football offensively, your defense is tougher. The people that work in the bistro are tougher. You're just a tougher football team all in all, and so that's what we are. Work in the bistro." I love that. Yeah, this makes sense that he would say this because this is somebody who has worked as a head coach at multiple stops. And if we go back to what he was saying about the pace, he was already thinking about the defensive aspect of it. So we have talked about two big pillars and philosophies for this offense, but they've both related to the defense. And that's very intelligent. That's what you want to do. You don't want to, even if you only coach offense, you should still care about the defense because they got to support you. And if you coach a defense, you should still care that the offense is scoring points and sustaining drives, because if they don't, your defense is going to be put in a bind. And then the third big takeaway from this I keep wanting to call it a press conference, from this interview on the podcast, is probably the most important one. It's an emphasis on the deep passes. Morris described his preferred offense as a two-back, run-oriented, play-action, shot football team. Quote, "We want to travel. We want to push the ball down the field at least 3 times a quarter." That was a very specific number he referenced. At least 3 times a quarter. And that means the ball traveling in the air 25 yards or more 3 times a quarter. He even doubled down on it and said if they only threw 2 passes of at least 25 yards in a quarter, he would be upset. So this is great, but is it practical? Can he put it into action? Well, here's the thing. Remember how I mentioned Morris? And of course, you guys know this already, but remember when Morris was the coordinator, the offensive coordinator at Clemson in his first stint from 2011 to 2014? Well, when he was calling the plays before, the Clemson offense averaged more than 460 yards and 36 points per game. So use the run to set up the deep shots and take them whenever you can. That seems to be the approach for Clemson heading into this new football season. So that's my job, done and dusted. It's now your guys' job. Again, whether you're a fan of Clemson, whether you're a fan of a different team, what are your thoughts, I guess, first and foremost on this hire, but then this philosophy, this approach to the offense? Whatever you got, make sure you throw it down in the comment section below. Do hit the like button if you enjoyed. That's the #1 way to support the content here on the channel. Subscribe if you are new around here, or if you aren't new but you haven't hit that button yet. We're going to be posting every single day, and again, we cover every single team in the ACC, so why not subscribe and be locked in for upcoming videos? But that's going to do it for this one. Appreciate y'all rocking out here at ACC Uprising, and we'll catch you in the next one.